Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker podcast, bringing you fun and soulful interviews with spiritual teachers with the aim of tuning you in and lighting you up. You can access all episodes of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos and interviews all about finding and following your life purpose. My name is George Lizos. I'm a spiritual teacher, intuitive, the author of Be the Guru and the #1 best-selling Lightworkers Gotta Work. And today I have with me Camilla Sacre-Dallerup. Camilla Sacre-Dallerup is a global best-selling author, a trained life coach, master NLP practitioner, certified hypnotherapist and meditation teacher, as well as a Reiki master and mindfulness-based stress reduction instructor. Camila's well-being business is based in Los Angeles, where she works with a range of local and international clients, from CEOs and celebrities to business owners and executive TV producers, specializing in challenges faced by those at the top of their professional game. Her 3 self-help books, It's Not You, It's Me, Reinvent Me, and Dream, Believe, Succeed, are international bestsellers, and her courses, meditations, and teachings are loved by thousands around the world. She remains close to her professional dancing roots as head judge on Dancing with the Stars in New Zealand. Camilla, welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It's so great to have you here, and I can't wait to chat all about healing our relationships with ourselves through your new book, It's Not You, It's Me, which I love. Now, before we jump into all the nitty-gritty and all the details and the juicy details, I want to hear first about your journey to doing this work. What has been your journey to starting on your spiritual path and writing a book about relationships?
Well, I think I was on the spiritual path growing up. I felt always very different than other people around me. And I was very, very sensitive. I've realized later on I am a highly sensitive person. And I just would go into a room and feel so much, I'd feel everybody's vibrations and frequency and feelings. And it was quite a lot. So I decided to get obsessed with being an athlete. And I became a professional dancer, first an amateur dancer and a professional dancer, and dancing became my life. And I sort of shut down the kind of that intuitive, the kind of feeling being a little bit. And I became very much an athlete. That was very practical. I could kind of, control that. But the journey, obviously, within was pushing me in a different direction. And I know that that's a lot about what your work is about too, like finding that soul purpose. And so what happened is I found myself in my mid-30s, very unhappy in a fantastic job. I was working with Dancing with the Stars in the UK, Strictly Come Dancing is called. I had a great job, seemingly on the outside. Everybody thought, wow, she's having a dream life. But inside, I was being pushed towards something else. I was feeling very lost, very empty, and sad that what I have spent so much time doing and spending time on and finally being at the top of my game, that I couldn't just be happy there and feel content within. And so I felt like, my feelings, my uncomfortableness was pushing me in a different direction. And I tried to deny it for about 3 years, but it didn't go away. So my spiritual journey was obviously still there going, you will go and do something else. You are meant to be over here. And it was pushing me along. And that's why I always like to share and say, the uncomfortable feelings are here for a reason. So they suck, right? When we feel that lost and we feel that stuck and we feel sad, or even like grieving. I was grieving that the dream I'd worked so hard to have was not what I thought it would be like, and so I was being pushed to go on this, cracking myself open, turning myself inside out, as I call it, to really find what is my purpose here. What is it that I'm supposed to do? And I went on search for what it meant to be content, what it meant for me to let go of all of that materialistic stuff, that, lucrative, comfortable lifestyle I had created, to go and really repair, I think, my relationship with myself. And I was forced there from the feelings of uncomfortableness. And then obviously later on, I realized I'm not alone in this. And I wanted to share that in a form of a book, in saying we will repair so many other relationships if we can first come home to the relationship to ourselves, and know that that is enough, and that is where the love starts.
Yeah. Now, it's very interesting sharing about your path of finding yourself and refinding yourself. And actually, this is something that I mentioned about in the book, that our life purpose keeps evolving as we're evolving. It reveals itself to us to the degree to which we're ready to accept it. And the more that we heal our relationship with ourselves, it comes to life and keeps unfolding. So I'm wondering, because your book, it says, it's not you, it's me, how to heal your relationship with yourself and others. So it's this perspective that our relationship with ourselves is reflected in our relationship with other people. I'm wondering, and I'm sure so many people are wondering, listening to this right now, watching, to what degree is our relationship with ourselves mirrored in the relationship with other people? Are there other factors affecting it as well? Or is it mostly this, and how so?
I think that mostly it's that we are mirrors to each other, and that's both the good and the bad sometimes, like perception is projection, right?
Yeah.
As Marianne Williamson will say, or in the NLP world, we will say, I mean, I think I wasn't open to that concept till my 30s, really, that we are all mirrors to each other, because I obviously, like many, thought, no, when you meet somebody that's angry or that really triggers you, that part is not me. And then you meet somebody that's really lovely and really like generous and kind, you think that part is me. And then you realize, no, all of it, if it's triggering you, it's part of you. And so you got to go look within. And that became just interesting to me. I went through a relationship breakup that really, really hurt me to the core. And that was my wake up to not sit in poor me land, and just feel sorry for myself, but to wake up and think, okay, I'm here. I'm really hurting. This sucks. This is not comfortable. What can I do? What can I take responsibility for in this situation? What is it that within me that has also contributed to me ending up here? That it was like a light bulb just went off in my head. And I was like, there's always something that you can learn from this situation or any situation. This person has reflected something back at you. There's work for you to do. It was literally like, yeah, those are the words. There's work for you to do here. And that just turned everything around, because obviously you want to blame everybody else, right? When something like that happens, you're just like, it's not my fault. I'm brilliant. And it's, the other person. That didn't really help or heal my heart. I was still in pain, right? So when we've done all of that and we blamed everybody else, it's like, okay, let's just concentrate on myself, right? I felt like I was dumped into like a big black hole, and I needed to sort of climb my way out of there. And on that route, I needed to figure out what is it that I need to kind of align within myself, so that I can attract different kind of relationships into my life. And so I can find out where is the kind of incongruency with my own relationship. And I realized it was definitely self-love, like really, truly self-love. We can say the fluffy word, right? Oh, self-love and that, but can we really love ourselves? Can we really love the parts of ourselves that we also don't like sometimes? The parts that are feeling triggered and they acted out a bit ugly in moments. And it was like, there was fear of being alone. I know a lot of people go through that, so much fear of being alone. So the universe just dumped that one. Well, you go sit alone, and then we'll see how you do. And so that was just, yeah, I just became quite so intrigued and interested in the relationship with self. And I guess up until that time, I'd been so busy working on the relationship with other people, yet sacrificed the relationship with myself. And then waking up thinking, oh my goodness, I've sacrificed the most important relationship. What's happening?
Yeah, it takes courage for sure. I remember I was bullied a lot as a teenager, and it took me a long time to realize that the reason I was bullied was because I was bullying myself. I was my biggest bully, but not everybody's ready to hear it, and there's a timing for someone to hear it. I remember when I was in London, I went to talk at an LGBT youth center around bullying and getting bullied at school, being gay and all that. And I told them this, I shared this, like, I was bullied because I bullied myself, and they could not hear it. They wanted to blame, they wanted to attack, they wanted the bullies to be held accountable. And I'm like, okay, yes. I mean, it's a journey for everybody, and I guess your
Totally.
book will help people like speed through that journey. So in the book, you talk about the 4 pillars.
But George, can I just go back to
Yes.
that, because I feel that's really important, because again, no coincidence that we're talking here, but I was bullied too. And
Yes.
I talk about this in my first book, Dream, Believe, Succeed, where I realized that there were things that I could have done differently as a child, even that I could have maybe been a bit braver and been better at explaining things rather than being reactive and putting this protective shield up, where people really couldn't reach me. So then I felt even more different. You know what I mean? So it's sorts of it's so interesting, isn't it, what we learn through these times too, those times of being bullied. And I mean, it helped me later on to learn about myself, and it wasn't comfortable, but it really taught me a lot about myself and how I in my life really want to be inclusive. That was the most important thing when I opened my business, was I want to be inclusive.
It's a thin balance, isn't it, around the balance of feeling like you're being victimized all the time and the balance of, okay, I'm taking responsibility right now and what's what. I think it's an interesting question for everybody to ponder around, because we all experience judgment and criticism and bullying to different degrees in all our lives. So it's all about looking in the mirror and saying, okay, what part of that am I reflecting, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the book, you talk about the 4 steps or the 4 pillars to healing our relationships with ourselves. And you talked about self-love, which is step number 1. What are the other 3 steps?
Self-awareness, because we can't heal what we won't reveal, as they say, right? And that I found so true, because we can pretend that everything is okay, right? We're good at that. We're resilient as human beings, but until we truly look at our own kind of patterns and habits and really become so self-aware, and we can catch ourselves and say, okay, I actually noticed the way I reacted in that situation. I'm not proud of that. I'm gonna kind of adjust that a little bit. When we have that self-awareness, I really truly believe that everything can be worked out. We can all say things in a moment and then realize, no, that's not cool. I'm going to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm sorry that I reacted that way. That for me is self-awareness. When we become that self-aware of our own actions, I think we can work with people. I think we can work with each other and ourselves and relationships. If other people are open to that, of course, too, right? It takes 2 people, but I just think self-awareness is everything. And then self-acceptance. That's a big one, going in from self-awareness into self-acceptance, to accept who we are and what we stand for, and be okay to shine our light and be our unique selves. And I feel there's a revolution happening now. I feel that this is
Yes.
the time to go, guys, this is who I am. End of. This is who I am. Be your unique selves. And I love that. I think that we just need to champion that more and more and more and more, because we're all here for a reason, and we all have our uniqueness. So self-acceptance and accepting, like I said, accepting the things that, like in moments where you think, I really want this relationship to be the one, or I really want this career to be the one, but inside your soul is screaming for something else. To have the self-acceptance in that moment and go, okay, I'm going to just accept that there's a different path for me. There's something I need to explore.
And just surrender.
That takes courage.
Yeah, of course. And then step number 4, self-care.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel about that, George? Because I feel like, as an athlete, I still have to talk to myself and allow myself time for self-care. It's an ongoing negotiation. I'm getting better at it. And I allow myself, because I know I can't possibly do my job without that. I have to have an equal amount of self-care to what I'm giving out. But in my mind, the athlete still goes, just push through, Camilla. So I got to have a little chat. People still feel guilty about taking time for themselves. It's the most important thing we can do, is look after ourselves. Nobody can give from an empty cup, right?
Absolutely. And we have all those terms like self-love, self-acceptance, self-awareness, and self-care. And sometimes I was just thinking about this while you were talking, we tend to use them interchangeably, first of all. And also we tend to just brush over them and not give them much attention, as like buzzwords. Oh, just self-love, I'm doing a bubble bath today, doing a story about it, like a boomerang with a bath bomb in the water. We've all done that. Okay. But But is it truly self-care, or what does self-care mean? So while you were talking, I found myself thinking, okay, so what's the difference between self-love and self-care? And I'm like, there actually is a difference, because self-love is way deeper. It has to do with accepting the deeper parts of you and parts of your personality and psyche, whereas self-care is about taking practical action steps and setting up boundaries that you're allowing yourself to take care of yourself. Can you talk a little bit about the nuances between those 4 steps, and whether there is an order that we can start with? If someone's been self-loathing their entire life, where they can start to heal their relationship with themselves?
Yeah. So self-love for me, it's deep, like you said. It dives right in deep, right? Self-love self-love can be, buying yourself a bunch of flowers, but for me, it goes right in deep to, can I forgive myself?
Yes.
That happened. Can I forgive myself? Or, wow, I just acted out in a really ugly way. Can I take a breath and go, it's okay. That was not your brightest moment. You forgive yourself, you learn from it, and you move on. Self-love is really accepting like what we look like as well, like saying there are parts of myself that I love more than others, but this is who I am, and I came here to share everything that I stand for. It's diving right in deep. Self-care for me is a little bit more physical.
Yes.
Self-love, again, for me, is boundaries. That is something that I've really had to learn in my life, to set boundaries. But when I do it now without, by the way, an excuse, it's like I feel like my heart explodes when somebody texts me saying, can you do this or whatever, and I just go, sorry, I'm not available. That's all. Without like why I'm not available. I can feel my heart just like love. I just love. That is pure love, because I know in that moment I've chosen me. I've just said to the universe, I'm not available, because that day I might need some self-care. I might need some time for myself. Self-care is so many things, right? Like you said, it can be a hot bath, it can be meditation, it can be a hike, it can be sitting in your garden. It can just be, let's talk about self-talk. I think that's where you start. With self-love, I find self-talk, the way we talk to ourselves, probably one of the most important things we can do that is loving to ourselves, is to really be mindful of how you're speaking to yourself. If you're putting yourself down all day long, that's not kind. That's not self-love. If you change those words into kind words about yourself, a kind narrative about yourself, first of all, you will feel better in yourself because of the vibration and frequency of the words, right? And all of the chemicals and happy hormones that will be released through the kind words. I talk about that in the book. But also, that is an act of self-love and self-care all rolled into one right there. And I just want to be very clear about that. If somebody now is listening and thinking, okay, Camilla, that's going to be quite a journey. It is a bit of a journey to change the self-talk. And that's because we have negativity bias in the brain, right? So the brain loves to go to the negative over the positive. So bear with it. Please don't expect that you say one sentence, like you say, I'm not enough. And then suddenly you say, I am enough. And then that's done. This is an ongoing process that may take some time, some years even. Might have to be really mindful, just like when you're learning to run a marathon. You got to stick with the training. The training starts with the self-awareness of catching yourself every time you put yourself down. You start to observe, wow, I can do or say something kinder about myself. When you hear yourself say something to a friend, oh, I'm just awful at that. I don't feel like I could possibly do that. I don't have what it takes. I'm not enough. Or you even just say that to yourself when you look in the mirror, you say something unkind. Self-awareness, catch yourself. Wow, that was not too kind. I forgive myself for that. There's a beautiful saying that goes like, whenever you catch yourself saying something that's not so kind, you can literally just pause right there and say, and I love myself anyway. And I love myself anyway. I think I did that for about a year. And every time I caught myself say something that wasn't kind, I would add, and I love myself anyway. It was like just saying, it's okay. I catch it. I know what I've just said is not kind, but I still love myself.
It sort of transmutes the emotion.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. So we start at self-acceptance, and then we go through the journey of self-love, self-care, and self-awareness as well. So I was wondering whether you can share any practical tips or tools that like listeners or watchers can try right now to just really kickstart their journey to learning to heal their relationships with themselves. Of course, first one is be aware. What am I thinking right now? Like, am I self-talking negatively? And then fix that. But is there something else we can try as well?
For sure. I honestly believe it starts with checking in with ourselves, because we get so into the external world. So all we can do right now, and you can do this every single morning. Okay, this will be an act of self-care and self-love. Put the hands on your heart if that feels okay to you, and just close your eyes and imagine you've just woken up in the morning now. Okay, so this is the first thing you do before you reach for your phone. You take a deep breath in right into your belly, and then you ask yourself, how am I? And as you keep asking, how am I? How am I today? You just notice there'll be like a thought, and it could be a light one, happy one, heavy one. It's okay, no judgment, just notice. If the feeling felt a little on the heavy side, like I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I'm tired, ask the second question. What do I need today? What do I need today to be okay? Can I find time to give myself that today? And take another deep breath in. I call that the morning check-in. And what that teaches us is that before you check in with anybody else, or you invite anybody else's energy into your field, you take yourself that serious. You love yourself first. You go, how am I? Imagine you and I jumping on this call without having checked in with ourselves. And we say to each other, how are you today? What happened to how am I today? What did I need before I spoke to you? Did I need to jump around and put on a happy song? Did I need to raise my vibration? Yesterday for me was a really odd vibration in the world. I don't know if you felt that too, George, but it was quite an interesting pressure over here in LA. Like the sky felt like very heavy.
I was having nightmares all night long. Now it makes sense.
Oh, you felt it then. You felt it. Yeah. So my question was, what do I need today? Because I could feel I needed time for me to raise my vibration. It was a weird, and so I was like, the answer was there. You need to sit and take some time for yourself today. Journal, meditate. And we're talking like taking 10 minutes or 20 minutes sometimes to go for a walk, or to just turn the phone off, put it down, have a bath, call a friend. Yesterday I called a friend because I also knew that would raise my vibration. Just having that chat to somebody that you love.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something we can do to raise our own vibration, but often we start by, what do other people need? If you want to learn how you are, if you want to really fall in love with yourself, you got to be willing to check in with yourself and ask yourself, how am I? And sometimes it's not so good. Sometimes it's I'm great. But to follow the process of every single morning to see how the answer changes teaches you a lot about yourself.
That was such a powerful process, like trying it right now. I was surprised at how easily the answers came through. I'm like, how do you feel? I feel uneasy. Okay, why do you feel uneasy?
Yeah.
Well, because I haven't had time to like have a rest today. Okay, what do you need? I'm like, I need to meditate. I'm like, okay, great. I can give me some time to meditate after this. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I immediately felt my heart opening up.
Yeah.
I felt like I was hugging myself from the inside out. I'm like, oh, wow. And I look forward to trying this every single day now.
I made it my goal. I think it was like, it was the year before the book came out. So coming up 2 years now. I just woke up one morning and I thought, that's it. From now on, this will be my morning check-in. Every single day, I will not reach for the phone. I will not ask my husband or anybody, my dogs, or get out of bed till I've asked myself, how am I today?
Wow.
It just feels good. And by the way, we ask everybody else all the time, don't we?
Yes, of course. Camilla, thank you so much. I want to end on this high note and leave this takeaway for people to go try right now. Can you please let people know where they can get in touch with you and where they can buy It's Not You, It's Me?
Yes, it's available on Amazon and also on my website, zenme.tv, like being zen when you're meditating.
Yeah, perfect. And how about Instagram?
Yes, at Camilla Dallerup on Instagram.
Perfect. And of course, all the links will be available in the show notes below. Thank you so much for joining me, Camila. I'm so excited for everybody to witness your magic and to read It's Not You and Me and your other two books as well. Wishing you a lovely rest of your day.